So let's just start with some easier problems, and we'll just kind of work up to more complicated problems. What if we're doing 85 times 2? 85 times 2. We want to line everything up so that the 2 is underneath the 5. So the first thing we do is say 2 times 5 is 10. We put a 0 and then we carry a 1 to the next column. And then we do 8 times 2 is 16, and whatever we carried, the 16, we add to it. That will be 17, so it would be 170. There's no other digits anywhere here to multiply by, so the answer we get is just 170. That's the final answer. Okay, so we can draw a little circle around that if you want. All right, what if we have the problem 74 times 4? Okay, so again, we start multiplying on the right-hand side. 4 times 4 is 16, but we can't just write 16. We have to put a 6 and carry a 1 to the next column. Then we take the 4 and multiply by that digit, which is 4 times 7 is 28, plus what we carried, 1, which is 29. And we can go ahead and put the whole 29 down here because there's no other digits to carry to. And so what we'll have then is 296, and that's the final answer. There's no other digits to multiply anywhere, so you're done with that. Now let's increase the size of the top number to 124 multiplied times 3. All right, so we do the same sort of thing. 3 times 4 is 12. We can't write the whole 12 down, so we put a 2 and carry a 1 to the next column over. Then we do 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So we just write the 7, and then we do 3 times 1 is 3. So what you're doing is you're multiplying each time by each digit above, and you're carrying as you need to go. So what we got there was 372. Now we'll do another 3-digit, 507 times 6. So we start on the right-hand side. 6 times 7 is 42. We can't write the whole thing down, so we put a 2 and carry a 4. 6 times 0 is 0, plus the 4 just gives us the 4 down here. And then 5 times 6, we can write the whole 30 down there because there's nothing else to carry to, so when we're done with that, we can just write the whole number down. We get 3,042, that's the final answer. Let me switch colors, and we're just going to get to a little bit higher complexity now at this point because now we're going to be multiplying something like 14 times 21. So now we have a 2-digit times a 2-digit. So when you have that kind of thing going on, you start with the right-hand digit and you multiply times both, and then you do the left-hand digit times both. So that's how you handle it. So let's start on the right. 1 times 4 is going to give us 4. 1 times 1 is going to give us 1. Now before we can do this multiplication, we go down to the next line and we add a 0 there, okay? And then we do 2 times 4 gives us an 8. 2 times 1 gives us a 2. So now I have these things stacked up on top of each other and I add them. 4 plus 0 gives us 4. 8 plus 1 is 9. And then 2, there's nothing above it, so you just carry it, is 294. So when you go down to multiplying by the next digit over, you add that 0 there as a placeholder. All right? So let's go and do the problem 72 times 28. All right? And then we start on the right. 8 times 2 is 16, so we put a 6, carry a 1 to the next column. Then we go here, 8 times 7 is 56, plus the 1 is 57. Now we can just go ahead and write the whole 57 down because there's nothing else to carry to right there. Now when we go down to the next line, we have to add this 0. Now we can multiply by 2. We're done with the 1 that we used a minute ago, so we can erase that 1 that we carried. Now 2 times 2 gives us 4. And 2 times 7 gives us 14. Now we can write the whole 14 down here because there's no other digits to carry it to, right? And you line everything up under the digits above, and so then you add these and you start at the right. 6 plus 0 is 6. 7 plus 4 is actually 11, so we put 11, or I should say we put a 1 and carry a 1. 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 1 is 10, so we put a 0 and carry a 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we get 2016, 2016. That is the final answer. So as we multiply by larger and larger numbers, we're doing the same thing. We're multiplying the right-hand digit by what's on top. Then we go down below to the next digit, we add a 0, and then we multiply those digits and we add it up. It's the same process over and over again. What if we have 34 times 49? We start in the right-hand column. Actually, I want to shift this down to give myself a little bit of room. 34 times 49. 9 times 4 is 36. We can't write the whole thing, so we put a 6, carry the 3 up here. Then we go 9 times 3 is 27, plus 3 is 30, and we can write that whole thing there because there's no other digits to carry. Okay. Then we drop down to do this multiplication. We have to add a placeholder 0. We're going to erase this 3 because that was from the last multiplication. 4 times 4 is 16. We put a 6, carry a 1. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13, and we write the whole thing down, lining all the digits up, and then we add them. 6 plus 0 is 6, 0 plus 6 is 6, 3 plus 3 is 6, and 1 plus 0 is 1. So we get 1,666 is the final answer. Okay? Now let's change the complexity just a little bit more. We've been doing 2-digit times 2-digit. Let's do 3-digit, 121 times 2-digit. It's not going to make it really much harder. It's not any harder, really. You just have to follow the same process. 4 times 1 gives you 4. 4 times 2 gives you 8. 4 times 1 gives you 4. Okay? So you're done with that. You go to the next line, you add a placeholder 0, and you start here. 1 times 1 gives you 1. 1 times 2 gives you 2. 1 times 1 gives you 1. You're done with all of your digits, and you just simply add them together. 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 1 is 9, 4 plus 2 is 6, and then the 1 just comes down for the ride. 1,694. 1,694. So what about 235 times 25? Okay, same sort of thing. 5 times 5 is 25. We put the 5 down here, carry the 2. Then 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17, so we put the 7, carry the 1 over here. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11, so I put the 11 down here. Now I'm done with that, so I go to the next line. I'm going to be multiplying by this, so I add a placeholder 0, and I erase all of this stuff that I carried because it'll confuse me if I don't. 2 times 5 is 10, so we put a 0, carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 gives us 7. 2 times 2 gives us 4. And then we add these together. 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 0 is 7. 1 plus 7 is 8. 1 plus 4 is 5. We get 5,875. 5,875. So we just have a few more problems. Actually, I'm going to do the next one over here. To be 417. We're just getting practice. None of this stuff becomes any harder than what we're doing now, but you just have to practice to make sure that you are doing everything right. 7 times 6 is 42. So we put the 2 down here and carry the 4. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 is 10. So we have to put a 0 and carry the 1. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. We write the whole 25 here because there's nothing else to carry. We're going to be multiplying by this, so we drop down and add a 0. We erase what we carried before so it doesn't confuse us. 7 times 4 is 28. 8, carry the 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. 4 times 4 is 16, so we write it like this. And then we add these. 2 plus 0 is 2. This becomes 8. This becomes 11. 5 plus 6 is 11. Then we have 6 plus 2 is 8, plus another one is a 9, and the 1 just comes down here. 19,182. So far we have done basic multiplication. Then we did 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication. Then here we did 3-digit by 2-digit multiplication. Now we're going to go to the next level where we'll have a little bit longer problem, 3-digit by 3-digit multiplication. But it's basically the same process, so it's not really any harder. So we start on the right-hand side. 3 times 4 is 12. Can't write the whole thing, so we put the 2 and carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. So we're done multiplying by the 3's, so we drop down and add a 0. Now we want to erase what we carried before so we don't get confused. 1 times 4 will give you 4. 1 times 1 will give you 1. 1 times 3 will give you 3. That was pretty easy. So now we're done multiplying by this. Now we want to multiply by the 2 next, so we drop down to the next level and we add 2 zeros. And that's the general pattern. Anytime you have to multiply, go down to the next level and multiply by another digit on the bottom, you just add another 0. So here we added a 1 0. On this line, we add 2 zeros. If I had an even bigger number here and I had to drop down to another line, I would add 3 zeros and then start the multiplying process. So 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. And then we add all this stuff, same as we did before. The 2 plus all those zeros is 2. 4 plus 4 plus 0 is 8. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus the 8 is 18, so we put the 8 here, carry the 1 over here. 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6, and then the 6 just stays for the ride, 66,882. All right, now for our final problem, it'll be the same kind of thing, 136 times 208. Times 208. We want to multiply these together, so we start on the right-hand side. 8 times 6 is 48. We put the 8, carry the 4. 8 times 3 is 24, plus this 4 is 28. So we put this 8 and carry this 2. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10. We can write the whole 10 here. We don't have anything else to carry. Now we drop to the next line and we add a 0, and we erase what we carried earlier. And we multiply by the 0. Now 0 times 6 is 0, 0 times 3 is 0, 0 times 1 is also 0, so we're basically done. We want to multiply now by the 2, so we drop to the next line and we add 2 zeros. 2 times 6 is 12, so we put a 2, carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 2 times 1 is 2. Put the 2 there, and now we add all this up. 8 plus these zeros gives us 8. 8 plus these zeros gives us 8. All of these zeros plus the 2 gives us 2. 1 plus 0 plus 7 will also give us 8, and the 2 just drops down, so we get 28,288. 28,288.